Good morning, everybody. It's Lindy. So this morning I have another topic of discussion that I wanted to bring up about eBay. I consider it a little bit of a hot button topic, but I want to talk about it. I want to talk about profits, but I don't want to talk about those super awesome high profits that you get when you buy something for $1 and you sell it for 50. I want to talk about everybody that has really small margins of profit. I am one of those people. Almost everything I sell, almost everything is a small margin of profit. And it's just because of where I live. Where I live, I don't have access to really dirt cheap pre-owned clothing. I don't have access to dirt cheap retail arbitrage. I have to fight for every dollar that I can make. So this video is going to be about a $3 to $5 profit. Is it really worth it? This is a topic that I have a lot of experience discussing because it's something that I had to convince my own husband about. My own husband thought I was nuts. Lindy, you're crazy. I want to just restate that I have struggled. I have struggled more than anybody should have to struggle. So every single dollar is precious to me. Here's the thing with those $3 to $5 profits per item. There's no way to get around it. You've got to move volume. You have to balance quality with quantity. And that can get really tricky. That's why you always have to start off smaller and then grow. For the longest time, my own husband was convinced that I was busting my butt for less than minimum wage. Yeah. You're doing all of this work and you only made 20 bucks today? Well, guess what? It's 20 bucks I didn't have yesterday. So while $3 or a $5 profit might not sound like much to someone if you're just selling 1 or 2 items, it really adds up when you're moving quantities, okay? I have done the math and I consistently bring in about $17 to $20 an hour for the time I put in. When I say for the time I put in, what I have done is I have basically taken the amount of hours that I work during the week, which is roughly between 20 and 25 hours. I am not full-time. I am not full-time. I do make a full-time income, but I do not work full-time. I work about 20 or 25 hours, and with the money that I bring in every week, it comes out to somewhere between $17 and $20 an hour, which in my area is fantastic money. And when I say I make a full-time income for the time I put in, I'm basically referring to I make the same money working part-time as I would if I went out in my area and got a job working outside the house for full-time pay. So when I say I make a full-time income on a part-time job, that's what I mean. I mean, for my area, if I were to go out and get a full-time job, I'd be making the same amount of money as I'm making working part-time. And I like that. Something really bizarre that I have noticed about my listing, this is why it's so easy for me to run high volume. For some bizarre reason, if I sit down to list, it takes me the same amount of time to list 3 items as it does to list 10. Yeah, I can't explain it. I can't explain it. If I sit down with 3 pieces and list it, it takes me an hour. If I sit down with 10 pieces to list it, it takes me an hour. I'm not even gonna try to do that math. Maybe it's how I work. Maybe it's how I function. I don't know. But that's how it works for me. So when I sit down to list, I sit down and I just crank them out. And the more listings that you have rolling in your store is more listings that you have to sell every single day. And very quickly, those $3 and $5 profits tend to rack up, and that means money. Now, do I always just do $3 to $5 profits? No. But those $3 to $5 profits are what people refer to as the bread and butter. You know, they're the bread and butter pickles of your business. They're yummy. We like them. Who doesn't like bread and butter pickles? My main goal when I buy something is to at least double my money back in profits. At least. Most of the time I triple. Sometimes I only double. You never know. But usually all of my sales average out to being about a $5 profit. And I am super happy with a $5 profit because it's all money. Now, when I talk about my profits being low, does that mean that I'm tanking the eBay market for these items because I'm selling them dirt cheap? No. It simply means that I paid more for the item than a lot of other people might have. You know, if I have a Harley Davidson shirt, I might have paid $4 for it, whereas somebody else might have paid, 50 cents for it at the Goodwill bins. So their profit is going to be about double mine just because they were able to get it cheaper, but we're still selling it for the exact same price. Just because I'm taking a less profit doesn't mean that I'm selling things cheaper than anybody else. And that's important. The absolute last thing that you want to do is pull the market down for items, especially clothing items. Because if you pull the market down and decide that you want to sell everything for half the price of everybody else and just take a $3 profit, you're going to drag the market down and you're going to hurt everybody. And then later, if you want to sell something similar to that item for more money, you won't be able to because the market is based on demand. And if everybody demands that lower price, we're all screwed. So if you've been overlooking items for resale just because you could only make a few bucks, do it anyway. The more items you have, the more you sell, the more money you make. Really, mathematically, there's no reason not to. There's not. And I'm telling you firsthand that if you take a chunk of time and you just sit down and you start cranking out listings, it'll be worth your time. It'll be worth your time. Because if you are sitting down to work and crank out these listings, you're going to get a lot done. If you sit down to only do a few items, it's going to take you almost just as long. At least it does for me. I can't explain why. So for anybody that thinks I'm crazy for working with the profits that I'm working with, there is method to my madness. And I promise you, I am not making below minimum wage. The one truth that I do want to bring up though, is that when you are working with slim margins like I am, and you only make a $3 to a $5 profit average per item, when you have a slow week, it hurts. It hurts so bad. But sometimes if your sales are slow, you have to put in a little bit more work. It's almost like working overtime at any other standard regular job. You know, if you need a little bit more money, you got to work a little bit harder. You got to get out there and you got to source some more stuff. You got to list some more stuff. You need to go in and tweak the items that you have. You need to throw them into a sale to get some sales going. You know, there are things that you can do and you are in total control of that. If you are not having very many sales, then you can do whatever you can to try to boost those sales. And right now, I personally need a major boost in sales. I blame the election. So anyway, that's just my 2 cents on the subject. I really hope that if anybody has been overlooking sales just because the profit isn't astronomical or you don't deem it worthy, just think about it. Money is money. And even $5, if you get $5 today, it's $5 more than you had yesterday. And hello, more money is more money. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you guys so much. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them down below. My email is in the video description if you have a specific question for me and you need me to answer it. I try to answer as many comments as I can, or as many questions in the comments as I can. But the number of comments I'm getting every day is just growing so fast. I really worry I won't get to anybody. So if you've asked a question and I haven't answered it yet, please send me an email. It's a lot easier for me to track those. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to me yet, I hope that you will. And I thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are awesome, and I will see you with my next video. Bye!